Season 2, Law and Order Season 2, 1991 to 1992. Rating 5 out of 5, viewed in 2020. In the wake of George Zunza's resignation, Paul Sorvino, who is very well known for playing Paulie in Goodfellas, replaces him and stays for 31 episodes. One thing I like about Sorvino is that he has a friendly face that can turn into extremely serious at an instant. It's a talent. Here's my analysis for some of the following episodes. Confession. It's surprising to see Greavy be killed in front of his home. Chris Noth gives an understanding performance. Sarita makes a procedural mistake by picking up the gun with a pencil through the barrel, messing up the lands and grooves. The Wages of Love. I can't believe Ben Stone choked. Having presented a very good case of two premeditated murders, he should have waited it out to the end because the pathetic widow is clearly guilty. And by the way, it is a nice performance by Shirley Knight. Amusing is to watch Jerry Orbach playing a lawyer. He gets demoted later after a nice try, but I don't think so, buddy, crack at the murder case, and is famously known for playing Lenny Briscoe, that is synonymous with the law part of Law and Order. In reality, Jerry tried out for the characters Detective Sergeants Max Greavy and Phil Serreta, but was turned down. The third time will be a charm for him. Asylum. This episode ranks one of the greatest in history of Law and Order, with Matthew Cowles being among the best performances for a guest star. This is the first time ever that the viewers are taken inside the appellate courtroom. The constitutional case involving Fourth Amendment is quite interesting, and yeah, I have to side with Stuart Rudin's expectation of privacy in regards to his box, necessitating a search warrant. God bless the child. Difficult case, but I understand. Misconception. Attempted murder. Didn't the baby die? And no DNA test to establish paternity. By the way, that's Shirley Stoller of Honeymoon Killers fame. In memory of. Got to love these cold cases. For a while I was expecting the daughter to confess that she had been molested by the father, but alas nothing came of it. Oddly, how did Adam Levere's character go from a bartender to a hospital administrator in 1 year's time? Out of control. Pretty riveting stuff, which happens all the time in fraternity houses. I'm really surprised with the verdict because Stone just made a slam dunk case at the end of the concerning the condom usage. 1 year later, Noah Parker would be Amy Fisher, and Amy Fisher, my story, Danny Zorn, who plays Joel Holder, has a familiar face, but he surprisingly died 8 years ago at the age of 40 after a lifelong struggle with a mental illness, making his first appearance in movies or television as Ted Champion. In this episode, Mark Healy is Gil Myers in Beverly Hills 90210. Renunciation. So, no statutory rape charge for the teacher by having sex with her student, and why was she in the courtroom before she had slated to testify? This would be a recurring goof through the series. Anyway, the kid gets a high score on SAT, yet is a dunce when it comes to love. Incidentally, David Seaman played the FBI profiler's son in Manhunter, but never acted again after this episode. Heaven. Luis Guzman guest stars in the very well-made episode that is based on the Happy Land Social Club fire, which occurred on March 25th, 1990. His Hour Upon the Stage. It's a mini reunion for three guys from Goodfellas: Paul Sorvino, Tony Darrow, and Mike Starr. Blood is Thicker. Ryder is mentioned to be the Dan Quayle Brigade. In 1696, George H.W. Bush's vice president enlisted in the Indiana National Guard. While in service, Dan took advantage of his family's political connections in order to not be sent to Vietnam. So he stayed in Indiana the entire time. And by the way, start the disbarment proceedings against Ryder's lawyer for letting him leave the country. Trust. Explain this to me. Why would his father let his effed up son near a gun, even after the first murder? Either way, he raised a monster. Anyway, this episode is slightly based on the Rod Matthews case. Vengeance. Most definitely based on Boston Strangler, the serial killer, played by James Rebhorn, is pretty smart and he must have studied law beforehand and engaged in many discussions with a jailhouse lawyer, who too during this 5-year prison stint to cover all the bases. Hence he is most definitely knew what he was doing, especially during the marathon-long interrogation. Ben Stone finally outsmarts him by revoking the Fifth Amendment protection from his incredibly naive wife by charging her as an accessory to a murder, although it should have been an accessory after the fact. It's one of the toughest cases he ever tried, and I had no doubt of the accused's guilt early on. The discussion between Stone and Robinette about death penalty is pretty interesting. By the way, you've heard Marcus Webley being mentioned a few times in the past. He was a fictional MD character of the eponymous TV show, which ran from 1969 to 1976 and was noted for his friendly bedside manner. Sisters of Mercy. William H. Macy goes from playing a lawyer to taking advantage of homeless females for sexual favors in one season's time. The man of the hour goes to Ben Stone for his convincing argument for the murder, with a subtle threat of expulsion leading to physical violence on the streets. Cradle to Grave. 12 episodes ago, Shirley Storr appeared. Now it's her co-star of The Honeymoon Killers, Tony Lambianco. A mistrial was declared because of the word difference. I don't think so. There is such a clear establishment of Turner's pattern of violence. The Fertile Fields. So New York City doesn't search people for weapons prior to entering the courthouse. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Intolerance. Idiot Ben. Why didn't he verify the girl's story before putting her on the stand? It's the worst case he has tried in 2 seasons, Law and Order. Then again, the blame may not be entirely his, since the first judge moronically wouldn't grant a warrant for the gun. Now nobody cares about the slain Chinese American honor student. Boy, that Adam metaphysically Schiff is real supportive of Ben, huh? By the way, George Costanza's father, Jerry Stiller, appeared as a lawyer in the previous episode, and his mother, Estelle Harris, shows up for this one. Silence. One of the all-time great actors, Eli Wallach, guest stars and is very bit as good as he can be for the Oscar-winning performance. Joseph Cervano is well known for being part of a long train station scene after the Carlito Brigante in Carlito's Way. Overall, it's a very good episode with lots of twists and turns, and Adam Schiff brings out more of himself as usual. Well, thank you so much for listening to this review of Law and Order Season 2. We will see you on the next review for Law and Order Season 3. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.